On today's DNVR Broncos show, we're throwing it back because it's Throwback Week, baby, and it's Raiders Week. We're breaking down the Broncos-Raiders game. Will the 8-game losing streak stop this week? We're going to give our final picks for the game and talk about these throwback uniforms, and it all starts now. It's Raider Week here in Broncos Country, and let's have that mean something different this time around. It's been far too long since the Broncos have taken care of business against the Raiders, and will this week be the week that streak snaps? We're breaking it down on the DNVR Broncos Podcast, where I've got Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis rocking and rolling with Raiders. Is it fair to say Raider hater Todd Davis?
Yeah, you can say that.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate the Raiders with a passion. We were talking about it before the show. They were my team growing up, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But they just playing them twice a year, you just realize what kind of people they are, what kind of organization it is, and it's just that way about it. They're very chippy, man. They just, even when you're beating them, they're doing little stuff after the play. They're the type of people that, like, you know, pull your face mask, try and punch you in your, you know what I'm saying, family jewels, poke at your eyes. I'm like, this is just unnecessary. Let's just play football.
And that's just classic Raiders, too. Like, that happened, obviously, from somewhere between 2015 and 2020. That's like, when I think of the Raiders, I think of that going back to when I first can remember football, mid-'90s, and that's just been the Raiders their entire time. That's crazy that can follow an organization and just be part of their blood, when the only thing that's been consistent is the ownership has been in the same family. Like, GMs have changed, head coaches have changed, everything's changed. So maybe it's the Davises.
Not these Davises. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They say, you know what I'm saying, everything starts from the top and trickles on down. So
Is that why you were a Raiders fan growing up? You're like,
no,
man, this might be my family.
I didn't even know who the owner was, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want them to be my family. They're unique individuals.
You have way better hair than
Just a little bit.
than the Davises do.
Yeah, I don't even know where you find that cut. Like, even if you go to Supercuts, they're not going to Supercuts. They're having, like, somebody come to the house, like, where did you see that? That you're like, I want that.
And then your barber be like, yeah, I'll do that for you. I mean, if I'm the bar, I'm walking away from the money. I don't want my name associated with that haircut.
But I mean, they're probably paying him like $1,200 a cut. You're like, I'll do whatever you want.
Oh my God! No wonder they don't have money to pay like guys like Khalil Mack. They have to trade him instead of paying him. They're paying $1,200 for that haircut.
Easily.
And I got to welcome you into the DNVR Bar, where we're inside the Toyota Lounge, of course, rocking and rolling, presented to you by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. And, of course, shout out to the local Front Range Toyota stores for driving this show. And, Todd, there was something that happened last year on Raiders Week that we kind of had to hide. We couldn't really make too much of a joke of it because it was a serious situation then. And I say serious. It was serious to the Broncos back then. I don't even know if you were privy to this. But when it was the first Raiders Week last year, this is when we had Alexis still with us. And by the way, people ask about Alexis all the time. We love Alexis. She moved to Arizona and is not in the sports world anymore. If she was still in Colorado, we would love to have her on every single week. So that was not an our decision. She just decided to do something different with her life. So maybe we'll still have her on here and again, but she made that decision. People ask all the time. We love Alexis. She's welcome back anytime. But now that that's out of the way, she was with us, and she went down. She was with me, and we were in the Broncos locker room, and we went around and we asked a bunch of Broncos players, like, what do you hate about the Raiders? And it was to get some hate going with Broncos and Raiders. That's what Broncos Country is about. That's what Broncos fans are about. And we hear it from players like, man, yeah, I don't like him. Just like you said, a lot of players have that feeling. So we asked them something along those lines. Maybe it wasn't hate. What do you dislike about the Raiders most? And this is when Randy Gregory was still on the team. Do you know what his answer was?
Nope. I don't even know.
He said, I hate Mark Davis's haircut. And what a great clip for us to get. So we put that out in a little TikTok, and immediately the Broncos absolutely freak out. They hate it. They're like, we can't have this out there. This is like bulletin board material that goes to the top of the organization.
Yeah.
We got to take it down. So they asked us to take it down. We took it down. But that was something where they freaked out about it. And it's true, though. Who does like Mark Davis's haircut?
Mark Davis. That's about it.
We sure about that?
Maybe his girlfriend, too. I don't know.
Yeah, his girlfriend stuff's been interesting. She's like strongly denied it. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. But it's Raiders week. That means the hate is here. And Todd, I just still can't wrap my mind around the fact that it's been 8-game losing streak for this team. Like the 16 games to the Chiefs, obviously that was like disgusting, but at least they had like a great coach. At least they had a great quarterback, and right before then they had a good quarterback with Alex Smith. That you have to go all the way back to then to when the streak started. You actually have to go back to when you and Peyton Manning were on the team together when that streak started. The final game of 2015, I believe, is when that started. And it still sucked, but it was like, okay, well, there's reasons for it. This Raiders team, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, you say 8 games, and I automatically think, well, that's 4 years. Like, that's a long time to not have beaten a team, especially a rival in your division. Like, you never want that to happen. So it's time, man. We keep talking about it. We talk about it every time we play the Raiders. Every year we bring it up. Because it's really sickening. Like you said, the Raiders have not been good. So if they were contending for Super Bowls and making long push in the playoffs, like you would understand why we couldn't beat them. They're not even making the playoffs.
No.
They're not even a good team.
No.
And they just found a way to beat us for the last 4 years in a row. And not anymore, man. I feel like this is our year. I think that's why you bring out the throwback jerseys, just to remind the Raiders like how we used to beat up on you guys. And hopefully the guys, take that energy, that mentality, and go out there and whoop on the Raiders.
I love that, Todd. And I want to get into the throwback part of this show. And we've got some clips from some Broncos talking about this throwback uniform. And I want to get fans' opinion on this because now we've had, 4 weeks to let these new jerseys settle in. I know we did a show right when the new jerseys dropped earlier this year. And a lot of people didn't like the new uniforms or didn't love them, at least. Now we've kind of got used to them, I think. But now we got throwbacks.
Yep.
And people are clamoring for those to be the primary jersey. I want to see if that's still the case. And before we dive into that conversation, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Westera Credit Union, where they were founded in 1934 here in Colorado with 9 locations in the Denver metro area. They're all about Colorado, and they're all about helping their members financially prosper. And education is their thing. They were started by a group of 8 school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA, and you'll see that every interaction you have when you're a member. It's all about the local community with these guys, and hey, that's what we're all about too, so we love that. And they just launched the 90th anniversary CD that offers 9% annual percent yield. That's right, 9%. Even when rates are going down right now, they're still keeping that at 9% on a 5-month certificate of deposit. You can start earning high interest on balances as low as $500 and max of $3,000. And of course, they're insured by the NCUA. This will only be offered for a limited time, so head to westeracu.com to learn more. Early withdrawal penalties apply. Fees could reduce earnings. Rates are accurate as of September 1st, 2024. New money and in-branch offer only. Limited time offer subject to change without notice. Review membership, account agreement, disclosures and information guide for additional details. Membership eligibility required. Insured by NCUA.
A shout out to our friends at Raising Cane's. You know what I love about Raising Cane's is that they are so consistent. I think there's a lot of places you go, You get one good meal one time, and then the next time it's bad. And I'm the type of guy, like, once I go to a restaurant, if I have something I like, I'm getting that every single time. I don't need to be adventurous and try, all 30 things on your menu. Yeah. I want what I know I'm going to like and what has always been good to me. And I know for sure that these chicken fingers will not let you down. On your mark, get set, eat. Make a pit stop at Raising Cane's for craveable hand-battered chicken fingers. They're always cooked to order and made just for you. Race in for delicious chicken finger meals served up fast. You can order up tender chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, and buttery Texas toast. And you can't forget about their coleslaw. You can get it on their mobile app. You can order online. Turbocharge your chicken fingers and get them even faster by ordering online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
And shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Todd, before we dive into throwbacks, I'm the exact same way as you. If I find something at a restaurant that I love, unless I'm going there every single day, which I've never gone to a restaurant every single day, I'm not changing it up. And I hate that about myself. Like, I get there and I look at the menu and I'm like, man, I want to try something else because this is good. I'm sure something else is good. But then when it comes down to it and I have to order, I'm like, I'm just going to get the thing I love because I don't want to go here, get something else, and I don't like it as much as the thing I love.
Exactly. You don't want to mess it up. You go there for a reason. Get what you like.
Yep.
But what are you like adventurous to start? Like, I'll get something adventurous the first time. I feel like you're going and getting like cheese quesadillas. Like, no matter where
what
you're
gives
at.
cheese quesadilla about me?
I mean, your favorite ice cream flavor is bubble gum. I mean,
that's about as adventurous as it gets.
No, that's basic. Like, that's
what?
Yeah, child. Yeah.
Vanilla's basic.
Bubblegum ice cream is the equivalent of cheese enchiladas at restaurants.
No way.
Easily.
Oh man, that's the first time I've maybe thought about not liking bubblegum ice cream. Then
that's crazy.
I can't get the cheese quesadilla.
You can.
No, I can't. That's
I'm just saying that's your thing. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I will say? Illegal Pete's quesadillas are really good. But, like, I do feel like I'm here. There's so many different options. But, like, you can get the beans in it. You can get the guac or on the side. You can get veggies and meat thrown in it. So I feel like it spices it up a little bit. But still, I do feel I am getting a quesadilla anywhere. But at least at Pete's, they spice it up a little bit. Yeah. I mean,
do you like Indian food, Thai food? Like, do you eat all those?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do. Now, not Thai because my wife is allergic to peanuts. And so that's kind of like a non-starter there. Yeah. But everything else, love. I mean, Indian food is great. I can't do spice, though. Like, I like spice, but I start sweating when I have spice.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I really like it.
Are you one of those people like it goes in hot, it comes out hot?
I don't know. I'm very not in touch with my body, so I don't connect those things together.
Okay.
Which you think would be a pretty obvious thing to do. Do you?
No, I don't have that problem. But I hear people say it all the time. I'm just like, I don't know how that happens, but for some people, I think spicy food goes in spicy, comes out spicy, and I'm
that wouldn't be comfortable.
See, yeah, I wouldn't want spicy food if I had that problem either.
No, I feel like I would know, and I don't think so.
Okay.
No. Okay, so let's dive into these throwback uniforms, and we heard from a couple of Broncos talking about them. They're debuting this week. It's the 1977 version. And they touched them up a little bit, made the oranges a little brighter, made the blues a little stronger. When they've got the old school D on the helmet. Let's hear from some guys. Oh, what else do I call it, Todd?
No, that's what it is.
Let's hear from Pat Surtain first, talking about these because he's been like the number one guy that they use for marketing for these jerseys. So yesterday when we talked to him, I asked him about it. Like, how excited are you? They've made you the guy to market. How excited are you to wear them this week? And he said, these throwback uniforms, wearing them this weekend. What do you think about them?
Nah, they tight. They dope. I ain't gonna lie. They my favorite uniform combos for sure. It sucks that we can only wear them twice this year. So I wish I could wear them more times. But shoot, I gotta come out swaggy this week. Put something together for sure.
I mean, we all know Pat's a guy that can keep an even face for pretty much anything, even with good plays, bad plays, whatever. Although he doesn't have many bad plays, he immediately lit up, threw that smile on the face when asked about him. Do you think that players react different to uniforms when they're wearing a certain uniform? I mean, Pat's like, I got to be extra swaggy this game. Can uniforms help guys play?
I do think you kind of like have more energy if you feel like you look good. What is that saying? Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
I think when you know that you're like, you look fresh, and so like the pitchers they're gonna get on game day are gonna be super icy. So I gotta make some plays this game, so these pitchers can be dope. I think it does like add to your energy and your level of play for the day.
Did you have a uniform with the Broncos that was like that?
I always liked the all orange crush.
Yep.
I think they called them.
Yep.
And I like the all blues too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anything but the white.
No, the white's cool, but like not just like the regular blue, like that the dark blue that we had. Yeah.
And those were like your alternates, just like the throwbacks of the Broncos alternates. Those were the alternates, and I think the Broncos tried to wear those for night games, home night games. The all blue. Yeah, those were nice.
Yeah, those were dope.
All right, let's hear from Cortland Sutton to see if he feels the same way about Pat, the way Pat did.
I mean, y'all seen them bad boys. Them joints sweet. I'm looking forward to Sunday putting the threads on. The helmets already look. No, the helmets are some good eye candy for sure. So the threads gonna be nice. Looking forward to wearing them, but I think the thing that's gonna be even more exciting and it's gonna make the moment even more fulfilled is we go out there and get a win, a divisional win at that. That's gonna make it even just more special of a moment, bringing the throwbacks back, but to get a win, a divisional win at home in them, I think that moment's gonna be very, very satisfying.
Did you talk to Court about this before? Because you guys have pretty much the same answer.
No, but it's true, man. I think when you wear a specialty jersey, it does come with energy. Like you have to win, because if you don't win, you can't wear those jerseys again. Like the mentality of like superstition when it comes to like specialty unis is definitely real. So it's important that the Broncos get a win today or on Sunday, because if they don't, they're not going to want to put those jerseys back on, at least for like the rest of the season.
Man, it's not a point that I thought of, but it's such a good point. And when you wear your primary jerseys, only one team has gone undefeated.
Yeah.
So you're going to win, lose. You probably don't put that superstition on a primary jersey as much as you would for something like this.
Yeah, no, like it definitely has a little bit of superstition to it.
Especially when there's so much to this jersey. The helmets are so different and flashy, eye candy, as Cortland said. Then the jersey itself is awesome. Then the socks. Have you seen the socks? It's the white socks with the stripes, the orange and blue stripes all the way up. I mean, these are something where there is going to be a lot of attention on you, and maybe more extra national attention too.
Yeah, I want to see how guys do it too. Like, because you know how it is now with our regular uniforms. Like, you're supposed to have your socks all the way pulled up, and they're supposed to be like matching your pants color. But guys don't do that. So I'm wondering if guys are gonna rock the white socks with the stripes, or if they're gonna find another way to do the stripes, or they're gonna put the stripes like closer to their cleats. Like, as you start like thinking about the game, you gotta start thinking about like the whole wardrobe. Are you gonna match the stripes with like wristbands? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta start putting your outfit together.
Maybe this is why I never made it past high school football, is I never thought about those things. I wasn't swaggy. Are you shocked?
A little.
Wow. Okay. My cool factor just
I think if
went up a little bit.
Lululemon have had some like swaggy football clothes back there, you would have had them.
Yeah, I don't know if Lululemon was really back or around.
No, I don't.
Back then.
I don't think so.
And in fact, when I did this show with RK and we sat in a broom closet in the Broncos headquarters to do the show, I started wearing Lululemon pants. And I remember on the show one day, Ryan was like, "Are those Lululemon? Like, you're wearing that girl outfit brand?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're coming around to guys." And now we got Todd rocking Lululemon. So definitely, but this isn't an ad for Lululemon. I mean, you heard Pat say, like, I gotta put my outfit together. I gotta be a little extra swaggy. I wonder if we're gonna see. So it's pretty much the orange uniform. I wonder if we're gonna see guys go with like the blue sleeves or something too to complement it.
Yeah, light blue sleeves. That's not a bad. You got a little swag too.
No, okay. I can put it together, at least in my head. Todd, I think that this is the perfect game to break them out for the first time against the Raiders, because the Raiders have like all throwback uniforms. All their uniforms are classic, and unfortunately, I don't see it, but a lot of people just love the Raiders uniforms. Think they're just one of the classiest in the NFL. Now the Broncos are bringing their classy back to play them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup. And I like I said, you talk about that superstition. Like, this is a game where you feel like you really could win. It's like homecoming. Like, your high school doesn't schedule
Yes.
like the number one team in the nation for homecoming. Like, you got to get the bottom of the barrel so you know you can get a win. So I think this is a good opportunity to wear them. Classics against classics, but also the potential for a win is high in this game.
You nailed it. This is the Broncos homecoming, and they decided to whip these bad boys out on homecoming to beat the Raiders down. You nailed it. That is exactly why the Broncos picked this game. And honestly, even taking a step back, before the season started, looking at the season where it is now, this is one of the Broncos' most winnable games. We went through the schedule. Henry didn't agree with this, but I agreed with you yesterday. This is a must-win for the Broncos if they want to get where we think they now can get after starting 2-2. If they want to get to the playoffs, man, it's going to be really difficult to build the path to the playoffs if they lose this game. If they win this game, you're on a 3-game win streak.
Yeah.
Todd, if the Broncos win this game and the Chiefs lose on Monday Night Football to the Saints, which is possible, probably wouldn't bet on it, but it's possible for that to happen, the Broncos will be 1 game out of first place in the AFC. Not just the AFC West, the AFC. After an 0-2 start, after I was thinking now we're looking at a 5-12 season, they'd be 1 game out. And all they need is one upset. They need the Saints to beat the Chiefs because the Broncos are favored against the Raiders.
Dang.
How crazy is that?
That's wild, man. The NFL is crazy. It's a crazy league, and you never know what's going to happen. And start off 0-2 to have even a chance to be talked about in the same category as the leader in your division. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah. I had to rethink that a little bit. But.
There's a ceiling.
Sky.
Yeah.
Well, I think anything above ground is sky, right?
Wow. That's a good point.
Is that a
What?
quote?
Yeah. That now it's a quote.
You know?
What if you're in a casket in the ground?
What do you mean? You're in the ground. But
So
you're
the
still
ground
in
would
the
be
ground.
your ceiling.
Yes.
So that's the only way. Yeah.
But
Wow.
anything above the ground is sky.
Yeah. That's true. You're right. The sky's always above us.
Always.
Unless you're in space.
You're in the sky
At what point do you leave the sky?
and go to space.
Yeah. Do you ever?
I don't know. Is it different? Is
I
the sky
don't
and
know.
space like, can you separate them?
I don't know. Isn't that why they say like No. What are the super smart people who work in space called?
Astrophysicists?
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's why astrophysicists are so smart. They have that answer.
Well, I just think space may be like deeper into the sky. Like
You just
further
keep getting
into the
deeper
sky.
and deeper into the sky.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, we're getting deep on this
Yeah, we are.
on this show. And before we dive into Broncos Raiders and our picks, I want to wrap this conversation up about the throwback uniforms by asking you, Todd. Pat kind of said it. He said, man, I wish we could wear these for more than 2 games on the season. And I feel like that is Broncos Country's feeling as well. Do you agree with that? Should these, now that we've seen the current new uniforms in use, should these throwbacks be the primary?
No, I don't think they should be the primary because you need something spicy to bring out like every once in a while. You need like a special jersey. And if they put this as their primary, then they don't have another special jersey on the roster right now. And it would just feel like whenever they switched, we would never be excited for another jersey combination again.
It's true. No, you would totally take the specialness away from it, but I still think it should be because I mentioned the Raiders, and this is the only time I'm going to give them credit. But like I said, like a lot of people just think the Raiders jerseys are awesome and have always been awesome and always will be awesome. That's the same thing with this Broncos jersey. With the throwback, it would never get old. Now, you're right. You wouldn't have something to go into the well to break it out week 5 against the Raiders, and then later in the season, you wouldn't have a cool throwback. When you would go to a throwback or an alternate, it would be less cool than what you have now. But maybe you just never go to a throwback or an alternate because your primaries are so damn cool and loved by everyone. And I think the Broncos, I think they messed up a tiny bit here. I think what they should have done, because these are so loved, and it was obvious everyone was going to love these, they should have held on to these and dropped them next year. They should have had this first year just been all about these new uniforms. Then people couldn't immediately go like, oh no, but we have the throwbacks. You break out the throwbacks next year after everyone's gotten used to these. I think that hurt them. They dropped the throwbacks 30 minutes after they dropped their regular ones. And I think that really hurt them because people got to see what could have been when, in reality, I think people really do now like these new uniforms. It's just, man, you had something that was 100 out of 100. And these new uniforms are a 90 out of 100. But then you showed us we could have had the 100 out of 100.
Yeah, I think they dropped them because they dropped the first ones. And everybody was like, these are trash. Everybody was giving them, like F grades. And they're like, no, drop the big dog. Like, we got to show them that we, you know what I'm saying, we put some stuff together too.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they were holding the throwbacks to drop like the next day. And then, they saw that response and were just like 30 minutes after, smash it, go.
Let it loose.
Exactly. Okay, let's dive into the actual football with this Broncos-Raiders game after I give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, where our friends over at Game Time are going to hook you up with tickets to this week's game. And the reason I love Game Time is for many different reasons. First, their Game Time guarantee. If you find the same ticket or a similar ticket in the same row, same section for a cheaper price anywhere else, they're going to give you 110% back of what you paid for that ticket. So they're saying, we got you covered with the best price. You don't need to look anywhere else. On top of that, their interface is incredible. Just look at what Alyssa's pulled up on the screen here. This is their interface. It shows you where tickets are. So easy. You click on a ticket. You can actually see the view from that seat, so you're not surprised when you get to the stadium. And then they've got the all-in pricing. You click all-in pricing. It's going to show you, when you're looking at tickets, exactly how much you're going to pay after all the taxes and fees, so you don't get to the end screen and you're paying double what you thought you were going to. No, they don't do that to you. Game Time's the best, and it's even better because they're giving you the code DNVR to use when you download the Game Time app to get $20 off your first purchase. If you want to go Broncos Raiders this week, you got to check out Game Time, where I think a reason it's called Game Time is because the closer you get to game time, the better the prices are. So it's definitely not too late if you want to go to a game this weekend. Check out our friends over at Game Time. Terms and conditions apply. What time is it?
Game Time.
Boom.
Shout out to our friends over at UC Health and their Ready, Set, Code Challenge. And the goal of the challenge is to bring Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state in the USA. And they brought along Sleep Prime, which is one of Coach Prime's personas, to help you understand the importance of getting sleep. Now, I don't know how Coach Prime is getting 8 hours of sleep between CU and all the commercials and all the ad reads, but I know that sleep is important for him, so he's prioritizing it, and that's what we want you to do. We don't want you to sleep on sleep. You need 8 hours of sleep. That's the magic number. That's when you get a lot of neurological benefits. Your body is able to heal itself. You're able to recover from your long day. You want to make sure a good night's sleep is a priority for you. You want to put your phone down when you go to bed. That blue light is going to keep you up. It's going to mess with your eye. That's why Zach always has on these glasses. I'm sure he gets great sleep at night from protecting his eyes. You can try some guided meditations. There's tons of apps out there that help you relax your body, take some deep breaths, and have you in the zone to get a good night's rest. You want to make sure you plan your bedtime based on your wake-up time and make sure you get enough time in bed. That's something I learned, like, playing football. Like, I understand, like, okay, I got to be at the meeting at this time. All right, I got to make sure that I go to bed at a certain time, and I try to track my sleep so I make sure I get enough. So it's important to make sure you check your sleep. And if you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Code Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Go.
Shout out to Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. What do you see?
that comment.
The Toyota chat?
Yeah.
Making you giggle. Yeah, what?
You gotta say laugh. I think
Hank-
giggle sounds crazy.
It makes you sound like a child eating cotton candy ice cream.
Yeah.
So that was a giggle right there. Brought you
Yeah.
back to your youth. Okay, so Todd, the Broncos beat the Raiders if
If they can run the ball. I think that is when we were at our best, was when we can run the ball well. Bad game, bad weather. Bo didn't throw the ball well, but I think our running game was able to save us and help us towards the end of that game kind of put it away. Didn't put it out all the way out of reach, but I think that running the ball is very important for this Denver Broncos offense and this young team. We need Bo to be good, but as you saw on Sunday, we don't need him to be perfect. We just need him to be solid. And if we have good defense and we're able to run the ball well, I think that leads to a win.
I'm looking for 61 yards from Bo. He gets to 61
Please,
yards.
out of the 60s,
and the
man.
Broncos are gonna win. No, I think it's on the same side of the ball. I think it's all about offense because, Todd, you're right. You called it before anyone else. This Broncos defense is elite, and it's all credit to Vance Joseph and the guys on that side. They've played some great offenses to start. Geno Smith, in their first loss this past week against the Lions, put up, 34, 35 points? That Seattle offense is legit.
Yeah.
Then week 2, Steelers, okay, not. Week 3, Bucks, that's a legit offense.
Yeah.
The everyone tells me Aaron Rodgers is great and this Jets team is great. Well, the Broncos shut them down. So they played 3 great offenses, 1 bad offense, and they have shut those offenses down for the most part. This Raiders team, no, they're not going to present any problems for the Broncos. Devontae Adams is not going to play. Did you see Adam Schefter's report yesterday?
About his hamstring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said Adam Schefter reported on Wednesday, which, by the way, injuries are never decided by Wednesday. You always have them go to game time, or at least Friday. And Adam Schefter tweeted that Devontae Adams is not going to play this week due to his hamstring injury. I think his hamstring will be just fine once he's traded to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been rehabbing.
Yeah, exactly. Even if he's traded to the Jets now, he'll be
Yeah.
playing on Sunday. If
Yeah,
he's
he
still with the
probably
Raiders,
will.
he won't be playing. So no Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers is a really good receiver.
Uh-huh.
But if you got Pat on him, not worried about that. Brock Bowers is going to be an issue, but Brock Bowers can get 80 yards if everyone else is getting 20. That's okay. So I'm not worried about that. So it's all about the offense. And for me, the key is the Broncos win this game as long as they don't let Max Crosby ruin it. And when I talk about ruin it, I'm talking about 2 sacks, a strip sack, a forced fumble, something along those lines. If he doesn't have that stat line, the Broncos will win this game because they'll only need to put up 10 points to beat the Raiders. If this Broncos defense does what they did against the Jets, and it'll be an easier ask this week, the Broncos will win this game. The offense will do enough this game unless Max Crosby, the Broncos get the ball to start the game. They're on their own 20. Max Crosby has a strip sack, sets the Raiders up at the 10-yard line. All they have to do is get 10 yards against the Broncos defense. They still might not get 10 yards, but that's a situation where, like, you start with a 7-0 deficit because Max Crosby changed the game at the outset. That's how the Broncos lose this game. And I feel wrong saying this, but I just have so much confidence in this Broncos team right now. They're hot. They're rolling. They've got good, sustainable coaching. They've got good, sustainable defense. We heard Baldy say this Broncos defense is for real, and this is a defense that can sustain week in and week out. If they don't beat the Raiders this week, I honestly have no idea when they will.
Oh, wow. No, I agree. They're on the right path and have been playing good ball. 2-game winning streak. They're posed to beat the Raiders, especially right now. Like, this is the best time for them to go against the Raiders. Devontae Adams and his issues, the team as a whole, not a good offense. I think this is the best time. Like, I would bet on the Broncos to beat the Raiders heavily this week.
I would too. And I've been so wary of Broncos games after being burned so many times about liking their chances in the past. This is one where I really do like Todd. They're not just bringing the throwbacks back. They've got alumni weekend.
Yep.
They're bringing the 1977 team back. They're honoring Steve Foley and Riley Odoms into the Ring of Fame this week. This is a huge weekend against the Raiders, too. First division game. We heard guys talk about division, and I love what Sean Payton said. You weren't here for the Nathaniel Hackett years, so you probably don't know this. When the Broncos first played the Raiders, when Nathaniel Hackett was the head coach just a couple of years ago, he was asked at a press conference, what does Raiders week mean to you as the Broncos head coach? You know what his answer was?
Just another week.
Way worse than that. He said, well, my dad coached for the Raiders growing up, so I kind of have like a soft spot in my heart for him. It's like, oh my God, what a nightmare answer. No, you can't have soft spots in your heart for the Las Vegas Raiders. No, you have to hate the Raiders here. And Sean didn't necessarily go that far yesterday when talking about him, but he said, we know how important this game is. Raiders at home. It's also the first division game. And he said something very interesting. He said, if you want to be a team that does anything in a season, anything that means something, I don't know of a team in the past that's gone 500 in their division and gone on to achieve those goals of really doing something that season. And I thought it was interesting. He put the bar at 500. Right now, I'd probably take 500 in the division for this team right now. He says that's not good enough. He's thinking at least winning, at least 4-2. And to me, Todd, when I look at these division games, realistically, to go 4-2, you have to sweep the Raiders because I think they're the worst team in the division.
I agree. And I totally understand what he's saying there, too, because you're going to play the teams that know you the best. When you play somebody twice in a year, like, those games aren't easy to win. They know all your tricks. They know your schemes. They know your tendencies. So you have to be a really good team to beat somebody twice. You know, when they know everything you do, that means you're really dominant enough. I know. It's sad because then I'm thinking about the Raiders. They've done it 4 years in a row, golly. But no, it really shows that you're a pretty talented team when you're able to beat somebody, even when they know everything that you're good at.
Your last year with the Broncos was 2019, right? Mm-hmm. That was the Broncos' last win. I see a connection here.
Well,
you are undefeated against the Carolina Panthers. And so the Broncos are definitely beating the Panthers this year because of that. And the last time the Broncos beat the Raiders, you were on the team. Good news is you were on this staff in training camp. So that means the streak ends because of you this weekend, Todd. And it better because, again, I think this is a must-win because of how important it is for the Broncos to reach their goals this season. You want to dive into our picks?
Let's
ready
do it.
to give your picks away for this game? You want to go first, or do you want Ryan and Henry's picks to go first?
yeah, let's see what they're talking about.
All right, so Henry is thinking the Broncos win this game and drop 27 points. He's saying a Broncos 27-17 win. Ryan, on the other hand, is saying a Broncos loss. He's
Wow.
going Raiders 21, Broncos 12. And he says he's only doing it because the 2 times he picked the Broncos to lose, they won. He wanted me to share that. He said that was an important thing. So he is superstitious, putting that jinx out there on the Raiders. I can't believe he, of all people, would pick the Raiders to win. Todd, you're a Raider hater. You can't pick them to win, right?
Definitely not.
Let's go.
I think the Broncos are actually going to have a pretty good game this game. Offensively, I think that we'll double our points of last week. So I'm going to say the Broncos are going to score 20 points in this game. And this Raiders offense, you know, you can't sleep on anybody, but this feels like it should be a good day for our defense. So I'm going to say Broncos 20, Raiders 9.
Raiders 9, 20-9. That would be incredible. Everyone would sign up for that in a heartbeat because the offense would show enough to give enough momentum moving forward, especially you could beat the Chargers scoring 20 the following week, and 9, the defense would still be elite. I think that Sean is going to realize what type of game the Broncos need for this and really play into that. So I think the Broncos offense looks better than it did last week. Not much more on the scoreboard. I think the Broncos scored 13 points. and win this game by 13 points. I'm going to shutout for the Broncos defense. They've had inside the building, they've had their eyes on a shutout a couple of times this season. The Steelers at home, and this is the Broncos' next home game. And Gardner Minshew is playing the worst football of any of the quarterbacks the Broncos have seen so far. The Raiders are without their best player on offense in Devontae Adams, and they have two good pieces in the Broncos, and Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers, and the Broncos have two, or more than two, 4 excellent pieces on defense in order to shut those guys down. Predicting a shutout is ridiculous. I mean, the Raiders might get 3 points, but I would honestly be very surprised if they get more than 10 points this game. This Broncos defense is playing absolutely lights out. And Todd, I think there's going to be an energy in this building that we haven't felt in years, because people are going to love the throwbacks. It's going to be a sold-out crowd. I also think there's going to be 1,000 no-shows or less. Last year we were talking about how there were like 10,000 no-shows at a couple of games. This is going to be a packed stadium. It's going to be a beautiful day, and it's against the Raiders. And also there's hope in the air right now with the Broncos. Not necessarily with Bo Nix. People aren't fully sold on him, but with this team, with the defense that's surrounding him as well. And so I think that's going to make the Broncos defense play even better. Does a home crowd, a great home crowd, help offense or defense more? A team's offense, like the home teams?
It helps the home team's defense.
That's what I thought.
Because they get super loud.
Yep.
And hopefully cause some like delay of game penalties, some false starts.
Yep.
They really can affect the opposing quarterbacks the most. And then, as Peyton used to want, like, everybody get quiet when I'm up, doing my work, and then get loud again once the opposing offense gets up there. Yeah,
it's actually good to be quiet for the offense, not only because it helps the offense, but then it lets the fans rest in order to be super loud when defense is on. Man, and I just think this is going to be just a dominant game from the Broncos defense. And what I mean about Sean, I don't think Sean's necessarily going to try to run up the scoreboard, because last week, he said at halftime, after the game, he told us at halftime he felt great about where the Broncos were in terms of the game flow. It's like, what are you talking about? Your quarterback has -7 passing yards. How many points did the Broncos have? 0 points at halftime? I think something like that.
Yeah,
something like that.
3.
-7 passing yards. There was nothing on offense. And so I asked him yesterday, why did you feel good about where you were at halftime? And he said, because I thought a high-scoring game against this team was going to be bad for us. A low-scoring game was going to be good for us. And so he said, I told the team at halftime, this game is freaking perfect. It's perfect right now. And, man, I mean, I love that Sean had that outlook and optimism, because I think every Broncos fan outside of being in the locker room felt awful about the game. And he felt good and clearly related to the players. So I think he's going to kind of view that as a similar thing. Like, let's just score one more point than these guys and get out of here. Let's break this streak. Let's not have this hump that we have to talk about. They broke the Chiefs streak last year. Let's break the Raiders streak this year.
Yeah. I think he was like happy about the fact that he didn't have to find a way to have Bo Nix in the offense score 27 points.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that was like, good for the team, because I think if we were asked to do that right now, I don't think we could. Like in a really like in a shootout.
Right.
What we did against the Tampa Bay Bucks, we put up a good amount of points. We had some turnovers. We made plays. But I think in a shootout, I think we're getting shot right now. So we need to keep these games low scoring until the offense gets everything figured out, and then we can just shoot it out with anybody.
The gun is still in the holster, and we're just still at. Maybe against the Chargers is when the Broncos are going to have to break out the offense. But now, just save your tricks, because the defense is going to take care of business. I love it, Todd. All right, there's only one other game in the AFC West this week that we're going to pick. That's one I mentioned earlier. It's the Saints going into Kansas City. Monday Night Football. Who do you like, the Saints or the Chiefs?
I want the Saints to win.
Yeah.
Saints were playing good the first 2 weeks. Can they do it again? Is Alvin Kamara fresh enough to get back to the utility piece that he is?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I am going to vote with the Saints and hope my former team gets it done.
I love it. And boy, this will be a perfect week for Sean Payton, because Sean Payton talks about how a perfect week is you win and every other team in your division loses. And then a little cherry on top would be his former Saints win. And then the big whipped cream pile on top of all of that is that his former team beats a division team to bring the Broncos within one game of the top of the AFC. It is just, I can't wrap my mind around that yet. I still feel like a little bit we're living in this 0-2 world. And maybe it's because the offense has struggled and we haven't seen as much from Bo as people wanted to see. What's he have, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions? So I get it, but man, that would be wild if that happens this week. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Chiefs find a way to win this game, and so does Henry, and so does Ryan. Todd, I hope you go 2-0 this week with the Broncos and the Saints winning. That would just be incredible. And you mentioned Alvin Kamara. He has the most yards from scrimmage of anyone in the NFL this year. He is back to his all-pro self. And I love that for the Saints. I think they do have a chance to win this game. The spread's 5.5, so that's a pretty long shot in Vegas, but it is in Kansas City, so that plays into it. But, man, I would absolutely love to see the Chiefs go down this weekend. Chargers are off, and one more thing before we dive into Super Chats and check out the Toyota chat. The NFL set up the Broncos' schedule in a tough way for them. 3 of the first 4 on the road. But then on top of that, the Broncos, by next week, will have played 2 teams that have had extra rest before playing them. Last week, the Jets played a Thursday night game before playing the Broncos, so they had an extra 3-4 days to prepare for that game. This week, the Chargers are off before playing the Broncos next week. That happens like 2 or 3 more times this season. I think before playing the Saints, they might have a bye week. And it's like, man, if you want to believe in conspiracy theories that Roger Goodell hates Sean Payton, you can see it with this schedule. Does extra time off actually help teams?
Yeah, it depends on like if you're on a roll or not. I think if you're finally playing good football, sometimes the time could hurt you, but most of the time I would say like giving more time to prepare, dissect their film, and then also like you're watching the game Sunday instead of like playing your own game. So you're trying to see if everything that you studied up until the that Sunday is like happening on film. So if it is, you have a lot of good keys and good tells. You've been watching good film, and it does help you a lot next Sunday when you play them.
When you were in the NFL and you had a bye week or you had a Thursday night game or a Monday night game and you were able to be at home on a Sunday, would you watch football most of the day?
No, I would watch the team I was playing, though.
Okay.
I wouldn't watch football all day, but that team I was playing, I had to watch that game.
Yeah. Was that kind of asked by coaches? Expected?
No, I really don't think coaches ask a lot of you like outside the building. They just expect you to do it. Like if you came in and like everybody's talking about the game last night and you the only one that didn't see, you would feel like kind of stupid.
That makes a ton of sense. All right, let's dive in to the Super Chats. And before we do, hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in with us. A lot of people in the Toyota chat, a lot of regulars too. Shout out Alex, shout out Jose, shout out Daniel, shout out Rodney. We appreciate everyone that's rocking and rolling with us today in the Toyota chat. Hit us with a thumbs up. Really helps us out, carries us into the weekend on a high note. And I did hear something that the more thumbs up we get, the better Bo Nix looks. So let's see if that continues. Let's see if that trend continues here.
Our thumbs up are his yards.
Oh.
Is that why he had...
It's sitting at 62 right now. Are you kidding me? You guys want to see another 60-yard passing performance?
Come on, guys.
Wow, this thing better be up to... Because you can still hit thumbs up after the live show's over. This thing better be to 450 by the time the game rolls around, or it's going to be bad omen. I like that. Let's keep that up. 63. Okay, you want one more yard. Let's dive into Super Chats. First one coming in from Greg S., who says, I can't keep watching in the mornings and hear Henry and Todd take all this crap. Aaron Rodgers, without a doubt, played better than Bo Nix, according to the eye test and stats. Let's hope this isn't a convo with Minshew. Much love.
Smart man. I think that's a very, very smart take. I appreciate the Super Chat and letting everybody know how you feel. Your voice deserves to be heard, so we hear you, and I agree.
And I appreciate the super chat as well. Let's use the QBR stat that really compiles everything. Bo Nix was better. Better QBR, Bo Nix. But you're right, Greg. Let's not have this conversation about Minshew, because at least with Aaron Rodgers, we've been able to have a conversation. If Bo was equal or close to or better a Hall of Fame quarterback, Gardner Minshew, who's a backup and playing the worst football of his career, no, please no. Next super chat coming in from Kyle Kismet, who says, Peter Schrager told Colin Cowherd that he reached out to Sean Payton on Friday night, asking if he wanted to go see Jelly Roll in concert. Sean said, "Are you kidding me? I'm knee-deep in Jets film." Yeah, I don't think Sean Payton's going to Jelly Roll a night before or 2 nights before a game.
You think he knows who he is?
No.
Yeah. Probably not.
I know who Jelly Roll is, though.
Yeah.
I found out about him. He was like a New Year's Eve performer on one of the shows this past New Year's Eve.
Yep.
That was the first time I got to see him. And he's you remember him once you see him.
For sure.
Yeah.
Young D tackle.
Exactly. Yes. He's like the pot roast.
Yeah.
Rick chimes in and says, "Yo, guys, was really surprised I didn't hear a question yesterday asking what the team is doing to overcome Bo's ball handling in the rain. Zach, can you make sure to ask that question at the next opportunity to Sean or Bo?" Yeah, I mean, it is a interesting question. I guess, how concerned are you about Bo in the rain moving forward?
It didn't look good. But the team is supposed to have like things in place to try and keep the balls as dry as possible. Like if it is raining, like they're usually tucked under somebody's coat or in a bag so they're not getting rained on. Now the problem is if you throw an incompletion, then that ball is hitting the dirt, it's spinning around, and now it's wet, and now we can't dry it off to the same capacity. But I think they just need to do more with him, like maybe heating pads in his pockets, his like front pouch, because it felt like he was like trying to dry off his hand a lot, or he like kept messing with his hand, like he didn't have like grip on the ball or something. So maybe like a towel or an extra towel. Sometimes they would have like the quarterback would wear a towel, and then the center will wear a towel behind him just in case the quarterback needs another one. Like there's a couple things you can do in place just to make sure your quarterback's hands are like as dry as possible.
Yeah, and honestly, this is not an excuse at all. In fact, it's inexcusable. I don't think the Broncos, and I know the Jets, simply just weren't prepared for rain. So you're talking about how, Bo kind of looked like lost out there, like trying to wipe it off, trying to wipe his hands off in the ball, and there was nothing to do or to use for that, because the forecast all week leading up to the game said 60 and cloudy, no rain. And then right before the game, the meteorologist at the Jets Stadium saying the rain's going to stop just before the game. At halftime, he comes on and says the rain is going to stop right now. It's like the rain has not stopped. The rain did not stop all game. So, like you said, meteorologists need to be held accountable because they messed with Sean and Aaron Rodgers. And so, again, it's not an excuse. You got to be prepared for rain, especially when it's going to be overcast. Like, it's not an excuse, but it did impact both teams. So I'm not worried about Bo in the rain right now, because I'm just going to say it was a one-off. I gave him a pass. It's a one-off. I'm throwing that game out the window. If it happens again, that's when I do think that it's like, okay, is there a concern here? And we might not see him play in rain again. Might see him play in snow, though, this year. And it will be interesting to see. But a lot of people say one of the ways to overcome precipitation and stuff is just the hand size. That's when, like, hand size comes in, and it's always made a big deal of at the combine. I think it's ridiculous. But they say that's when it comes into play. Bo has big hands, according to the numbers out there, and so I haven't seen.
What does that mean?
Well, no, I have seen him, but not like that.
You've been in the locker room too much.
And so I'm not worried yet. But one more game, and it starts to become a trend for me.
Yeah, I was wondering like why there weren't like 50 towels on the sideline, because like before every game, whether it's raining or not, they have like NFL branded equipment that you can have, whether it's like wristbands or towels. There's always like a stack of like NFL towels that if you don't want the streamers that you like make yourself.
Yep.
They have NFL towels on the table like right before you walk out the door.
Wait,
every game.
Are those streamers that you're talking about? The really long, skinny things? What are those?
What do you mean? That's just swag.
Oh, it's just swag.
Yeah, it's just You know what I'm saying? So like you're like Sonic, like that's my trail. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah.
I for sure thought it was just a towel that had been ripped too long, but then I started seeing like multiple guys have them.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what is the point of this? It's so tiny.
Yeah, no, it's just. a
Oh
little
my
swag.
gosh, that is amazing.
Yeah, and so like
streamer.
they used to make it, but now you can like find them online. Because like guys used to go to the locker room, and before the game, you get the towels that everybody's about to shower with or dry off with, and everybody just cuts them up. You got to get right, man.
Did you have a streamer?
I mean, a couple times, yeah.
Maybe we'll see some old school Broncos blue streamers to add to their swag.
Yeah. Or an orange one to go with the stripe.
Yeah. That's how to be nice. All right, I see. And then Rod is rounding us out here and says Las Vegas 9, Denver 27, both 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 294 yards, and Sutton 2 touchdowns. I agree with you, Todd, with targets and opportunities. Sutton's a top 10 to top 15 wide receiver.
Man, I love this, like group of super chats. Like everybody in these are very sensible, for like smart individuals, man. I love you guys' takes, man. Thank you, man. Rod. Shout out to Rod.
Rod, I hope you are so right with this one. Although right now, according to likes, Bo is only throwing 103 passing yards right now.
We got 1 dislike, so I guess it's like 102.
102. Oh my goodness. Let's get those likes up on the way out. And we've got Broncos game this Sunday, 2:05 p.m. That means tune in to DNVR Sports YouTube right around 1:30, 1:35 on Sunday for your pregame show where Todd is going to have it rolling. Our game days are awesome. I think we took a step up this game day where, Todd, you've got an awesome group of guys rock and rolling with for the pregame, postgame, and we're continuing it this week.
Yep, every week be myself, Drell Casey, and Noshawn Moreno sitting here live on set. And then every week we're going to have a new guest. It's going to be a players-only lounge, so we're going to kick Zac out. But he'll be calling in, so you guys will still get to hear from Zac, so we won't miss him on the show.
And hopefully Noshawn becomes Boshawn Moreno at some point.
I think he'll be a believer. If Bo goes out and plays well this game, I think we can turn him into a believer.
Let's do it. I hope Noshawn is a believer after this game. Everyone, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you 1:30 on Sunday right here.
We all silly like the mayor.